I wake up each day, your laughter lingers in every ray.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to Unstoppable with Dr. Paulette Scott. That is who I am. I am Dr. Paulette Scott, and welcome. Welcome to my podcast. This podcast is a dedication, everyone, to the love and memory of my best friend, my husband, my life partner. His spirit is the foundation of unstoppable journeys, and I am so glad you're here to join me. The unstoppable journey is finding purpose after your pain. Many of us experience pain and we don't understand why that pain is there or purpose to continue in life because we truly hurt when we miss that loved one. So again, today we're going to talk about many things that's going to cover how I even move forward. And you'll hear my life story. And again, I'll remind you of that. I'm glad you're here. This show is for anyone. I don't care what your life experiences is. Who has ever felt their life was turned upside down? This is for you. This show is for anyone who has started or stared face. A show for anyone who has stared into the face of grief. A life-altering change. It's devastating to have a loss of someone, your life partner, your love, your child, your parent, your sibling, your best friend, your fiance, your cousin, your grandparents. When life alters change from a loss, we experience grief. And it can be very devastating to where it can lead you in a very dark place. Spiritually, we know that the Lord has asked us to lean more on Him and lead not to our understanding, but in all of our ways, lean on Him. And so I think that when we start looking at ways and the things that we're doing in our life that we sometimes forget to ask God to heal us and take us to that next step, that this journey is going to help you remember that through Christ all things are possible, and we have the strength and we can move forward. Sometimes when you have a devastating loss, you wonder how you would ever be able to stand up again. I know that feeling all too well because it wasn't until August 7th, 2025 that I had no clue that my life would change so drastically in just one night. On that evening, my children and I stood at the bedside of my husband, their dad, and my grandchildren were all there experiencing the same loss that I experienced. We never thought that day would be that day. We didn't experience the loss in such a deep way until he took that last breath. We literally was there and all felt the pain at the same time. So I just want to share a little bit about my personal story and why I believe that even in your darkest moments, we do have the power to succeed, to move forward, to become truly unstoppable. My husband and I met at the age of 15 years old. We're in high school. I saw this handsome young man come down my street as I was in the middle of the street playing baseball with a couple of friends of mine. And he comes down the street and he's looked me eye to eye. We looked each other in the eye and I instantly fell in love with this man. I knew from that moment he was my life partner. How I know it, I don't know. But I felt like he was going to be the one that I would be spending the rest of my life with. Now, with that being said, I didn't plan on us trying to find a place to find emotional connection in becoming parents, but unfortunately, it happened on the first attempt for me sharing my love for him. And we found ourselves pregnant at 15, parents at 16. That day forward, it was all about learning each other and growing. And I felt like, man, here we are as young teenagers, parents, and we're learning to really basically raise a child when we weren't quite mature or ready for ourselves. So my husband and I have had this lifelong journey. We went through becoming parents. 3 years later, we had another child. 3 years later, we had another one. Life was never, ever perfect. We had our ups and downs, our infidelities, our pain, our arguments, but we were also learning to be best friends. And it was a part of us learning to really accept each other for being individuals, for being different, not having to see each other's visual or ways all the time. And so the one thing my husband always instilled in me was he used to say, always tell me that word easy, EASY, There is nothing about easy or the word easy. And he reminded me of that. So as we went through life and all of our struggles and all of our stumbling blocks that blocked us from moving forward, many times it happened, that we had to keep persevering and we had to fight. We couldn't give up. We have had to learn as individuals how to be different and yet be together, because I had my desires, he had his. We both had to learn how, and we had to respect that it was okay, because we raised each other at such a young age. As we were raising children, we had to accept it's okay for us to be different and not always see eye to eye. My husband was a grown, unbelievable, mind-focused, family-oriented, strong man. His opinion mattered to not just me, but to our children and to the best of his friends and families. He said it the way he said it. He meant it what he meant, and there was no apologizing for him being his true, authentic self. And so for me to be blessed with God giving me such an amazing protector and provider all of these years, it has really grew me. I grew to be the woman I am today. As a high school dropout, he didn't accept that. He said, no, you're going back. You're going to get the degree. We both went back to night school together, and we graduated with our GEDs together. He sent me on and said, it's time for you to do college while I work and create a foundation for our family. So over the years, my husband has always encouraged and pushed me to be a better me. And on the days that I felt I didn't have the strength or I wanted to give up, he was like, you're unstoppable. You were created to do this, and you can't stop now, and you need to keep fighting and move forward. So ultimately, the unimaginable loss that my children and I felt is unexplainable. We sat there at his bedside. He's ventilated. He's on max medications. We really thought he was coming home. We did not expect for him to be in all full support to take that last breath. The moment my husband took his last breath was the moment I think we all took ours. Standing there at that bedside, hearing the screams of my children and my grandchildren's tears, and trying to hold myself up for knowing that my partner was not going to get out that bed and go home with me this time was very devastating. So let's just start talking a little bit about my change. This changed me forever. I sat there and I thought to myself, this can't be real. This cannot be my future, my journey. This cannot be the end of my life. I cannot go home without him. I cannot move forward without him. There is no way God is putting me through this moment, this current time in my life, that my husband was not going to be with me. It was very, very difficult for me. My children and I grabbed each other. We held on to each other, and we left that hospital, and I could not look back because I knew there was nothing to look back for. I kind of felt like, is this real? Lord, have you really changed our world this much? And I can tell you guys, the day I lost my husband, there is no words for the pain. Not the pain I feel or I have felt. I can't even describe it to people. When I try to explain what I feel, what I'm going through, what it felt like, I can't. All I can say is I'm empty. There's a piece and a part of me that was ripped away. And it wasn't the piece and part that I lost when my mom said goodbye, when I lost her unexpectedly. It's that deeper, it's that deep side of not who created you and gave you life. It's that one who completed you and protected you and guided you in your adult life. You see, because my mom was the one that saw me take my first breath. And as I sat at her bedside, I saw her take her last. And that was devastating. My husband was the one that saw me cry, wipe my tears, gave me strength, prayed with me. My prayer warrior, prayer partner, the one that gave me the foundation of the title of being a wife, a mother, a grandmother. And yet to see him say goodbye to us in a way we did never imagine. We thought he had years to fight this cancer, but this cancer took him. It was like the world, as I knew it, was shattered. And I had no clue, or really didn't even know the world the way I thought I knew the world. The plans we had changed. The travel, the getting old, the retirement, going to different countries. He and I get in a RV and travel in the world. That changed that moment. The routines that we shared, the praying together we had every night, the fact that I would leave out for work or he'd leave out for work, and the kiss that we would say, see you later, see you when we get home, have a great day. Or if he was off and he was home and I come in from work, hi love, I'm home, the kiss, the having dinner together, the cooking together, the partner, just that routine. He made certain that the bed was made the minute we got out of it. That was his routine. He had his, I had mine. That changed. The future, all of it, just felt like it was ripped. It was gone in an instant. For a while, I didn't know how to move, how to breathe, or how to even face the day. As a matter of fact, I didn't even want to get up out of bed some days. My eating habit had changed. I could have cared less about the nutrition, but I knew I had to for my children. I didn't want our children to worry and think their mom was giving up, and I could not give up for my grandchildren and children because they relied on me to carry the torch. I didn't want my children, my sons, to feel like their mom was weak and they had to be there to protect her because their dad was no longer. And then when I think about the routines I have, I think about my children's routines with their dad. They no longer had their dad, who was the most amazing landscaper that ever existed in the world, was going to be able to just show up at their home and do their lawns for them so that their lawns were beautified, or to trim their bushes. They didn't have their dads there to pick up the phone and call them and give them advice, or to have hours of conversations about the Cleveland Browns football team, because he was definitely a fan. I don't care what, he was going to see them to the Super Bowl. And honest to God, I think he's on the sideline now, shouting out all the plays and helping those Browns do what they're going to do this year. And I do believe in my heart they're going to do well. Changes my grandchildren had to experience. That their grandpa wasn't going to be at their celebrations of their graduations or birthdays or proms or at Christmas or Thanksgiving. Grandpa, who they're used to dancing and laughing and joking with them and chesting them and telling them the real facts about life. In an instant, that was taken away from them. And then our little four-legged furry friend, his best bud, his buddy, his friend. The changes in seeing him not having his buddy to play football with. Or he run into the door because he hears the door alarm and he thinks his daddy is coming in. It was a change for not just for me, but a change for my entire family. I have a son-in-law who is just as close to my husband as our boys were. And to see the change that he knew his pops. He called him Pops. He won't be able to hear Pops say, what's up, Rob? To hear him say that, he looks for that and miss that. It's a lot for us to handle and take. And we're learning every day to move forward. This podcast today is in honor of my husband and my best friend. And I want you guys to know I'll continue to, in this journey, and tell you our story as I help you through yours. So let me tell you about that first breath I took. Right after that happened, and then as soon as the moment came, it was a single conscious decision for me to take that next step, that one breath. Now, I'm a respiratory therapist over 47 years, and I've taught countless patients how to breathe in a crisis. When they felt like they couldn't get that breath and then they panicked, and I had to try to calm them and teach them how to breathe to take control back. But in my own crisis, I had to learn how to do it all over again for myself. I was teaching it, now I had to put what I teach into place. That first breath, that first step, that was the beginning of my unstoppable journey. Now it's not about perfection for me. As we look at life and taking that first step and moving forward, I'm not looking to be perfected. What I want people to think about is just how being unstoppable and what that means to you. Because it's not about never to fall, never to get hurt, or never to feel weak. That's not it at all. And for me, being unstoppable, when I came up with the name, that meant to me facing the reality of pain and deciding it wouldn't be the final word of my life. Facing the changes that God has put forth for me to live through and experience this time on my own. Facing a time where it forced me to give him undivided me and attention, to where it allows me to build a new relationship with him and really get to know who I am. That's what unstoppable meant for me. And I hope when you stop and you think and you breathe, you take 1 second and just figure out, what is this doing for you? What does this mean for you? What is it you need to work on so that you can continue your journey in your life? It's all about choosing to get back up, even when it feels impossible. Just getting back up and keep moving. We always say somehow we have to find a purpose in our pain. My grief became my purpose. The very thing that hurt me, that void that I have, that loneliness I felt, that lack of hearing his voice at night, that person not there to have that discussion on what move to make next, right? Because when you've been with someone for almost 47 years, 48 years it was this year, he passed away 2 weeks before our 48th anniversary. When you have that person in your life, you rely on having that communication back and forth and discussion, making decisions together, and it becomes that comfort zone to where you have that person that will be able to help get you through your thought process. And when that's taken away, it throws you for a little loop. So that very thing that hurt me, that void I was feeling, and that loneliness on top of confusion had to become my fuel. And my fuel is to help others. So that's why I decided that my experiences would not be for nothing, and that my pain was going to turn into my purpose. They would guide me. I would allow it to be a guide for others in their journey, no matter what their journey is or whatever their experience. Because this podcast isn't just about the pain and the grief you feel with a loss, but it's also going to give you tools and information and bring in guest speakers that is going to help you on your next journey, on your next way, on your next path, and not stopping. Keep moving, keep breathing, because God has blessed us with that. So this podcast, the whole mission of my podcast is to let you know you're not alone. This is a safe space. This podcast should allow you to be able to be free to say what you want, express what you feel, ask the questions you have, get the knowledge and the expertise you desire to go forth and be successful in your life. I want you to know that no matter what you're going through, you're never going to be alone. My goal is to share my story, to share my expertise as a professor, as a master gardener, as a mother, a grandmother, entrepreneur, to bring in other expertise in their field, in covering what they can help us all grow and get through. And yet, make sure you find your strength. That's the most important thing, is that we find our strength to prevail, to keep fighting, to keep moving, to be unstoppable, regardless of what's happening in the world. What is it that you desire? What is it that you need? What is it that you want? What is it that's trying to stop you that you're fighting? And I give you the practical tools, bring in the experts and ways to help get you through. Because no matter what you look at it and how you see it, my pains and my trials and tribulations are here to help those of you as well. And some of you know and you've experienced it, and you're going through the same thing I have. You've already been there, and some of you are stuck. Sometimes something happens in our life, no matter what age we at, we stay stuck in that place. Let Unstoppable bring you out. This is my promise to you. We will talk about everything from healing after a loss, to building a business from scratch, to life lessons. We're going to talk about everything, no matter what it is, even if it means teaching you how to garden so that you can grow your own food and take control of your health back and not rely on some of these big corporations to feed you what they feel is best for you and cut corners and cut dollars. I'm going to teach you that. And by the end of this session, every week, you're going to have the tools you need to face life's journeys and challenges and become truly unstoppable. So please join me each week, every Wednesday. It'll be new topic. It'll be guest. Every other week, I'll be bringing in a guest that's going to touch on things that can help you from grief, spirituality, mental health, eating healthy, gardening, moving forward with pain. It doesn't matter. Life's, right? We all can agree, no matter what happens, life be life, and we have to figure our way through it. And I am going to help you along with helping myself. So today we covered my personal story. You guys got to learn a little bit about me and my husband coming together at 15. You know that we are parents of 3 adult children, and we are grandparents of 11. And today you also heard about what unstoppable really means to me. Because it's not about being fearless. It's about just moving forward even when you're afraid. And every week, I want to bring something a little different and a little special. I want to give you guys some action steps to take because it's one thing to listen to my podcast or watch my video and not have the action steps you need. So I'm going to give you that. So what I want you to do and what I want you to think about this week, I want you to think about one small step you can take today. What is one thing you can do to take a step forward in your journey? Just one. That's all you need to do is just one. Write it down, jot it down. Write down that one step and commit to it. Put it on a square sticky sheet or write it in a tablet. Hang it on your mirror. I want you to give me one and I want you to drop it in the link. Tell me if you're on my YouTube channel, tell me one thing. Comment to me and let me know that one small thing you can do today to take a step. And don't worry about the rest of the mountain. We're taking a step up that mountain, so don't worry about getting the rest of it. Just that one step. Just focus on that single step forward. Just this week. Think about it deeply and be prepared to move forward with it. Don't just think about it and sit it on a shelf. I want you to be ready to move forward. Now, next week, we're going to dig into the ground. We're going all the way into the ground now. This is where we start bringing our gardening into our talk. So you will hear me use words that reflect with gardening because I am a master gardener as well. So we're going to dig into the ground. I will share my love for gardening and how it incorporates in life, how just becoming how gardening is a metaphor for resilience and healing. And you don't want to miss next week. Next week, we will not have any guest speakers. It will just be me. But then after that, we will start with our guest speakers. And when I tell you, got some powerful lined up guest speakers, we have entrepreneurs doing amazing businesses. We have CPA who will bring you advice in business advice. If you are a business owner or not, if you're thinking about it, she's going to be able to help you. Not only is she a CPA, yeah, my girl is coming to you as a ballet teacher. Took ballet as a child and she still teaches us. She's phenomenal. We're going to have people coming in that do online digital business. We have someone that talks about relocating, leaving the country, what it takes. We'll have minister on here, pastors that talks about just how spiritually healing and what God does to help get us through. We're on this journey together and there's something for everybody on every podcast. And you're going to want to share this podcast. You're going to want to make sure you get this out to your family and friends and tell everybody you got to check out Unstoppable with Dr. Paulette Scott because it's going to help them and it's going to help you. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for this first week with Unstoppable. The journey is just finding purpose after pain was this week's discussion. And we all have to find purpose after pain, no matter what the pain is. You guys stay blessed, stay prayed up. I am so glad you were here and have a blessed day.
If you were empowered by today's episode of Unstoppable, please become a subscriber on our YouTube channel and also click the notification button. That way you are notified the next podcast drops. Also, please visit us on our website at www.unstoppablewithdrpaulescott.com. On our website, you will see upcoming guest speakers. Remember, you can also catch our audio form on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, and all the other major audio platforms. Thank you for joining Unstoppable with Dr. Paulette Scott. Until next time, stay blessed and stay prayed up on purpose.